Despite being 12-2 and still at the top of the NFC, the Detroit Lions are completely screwed. I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into Four Verts, where we bring you daily NFL and college football YouTube videos for free. And this is the time to subscribe if you haven't already. We just crossed 5,100 subscribers. College football playoffs get started this Friday night. We'll have a live watch party for that as Indiana takes on Notre Dame. NFL nearing the end of its regular season. Playoffs just around the corner. Videos, news, rumors, analysis every single day that we're reacting to here on this show. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. Okay, I want to spend most of today's show talking about the Lions because it's honestly, it's kind of sad to see what has transpired for this football team really over the last couple of months. But I think yesterday it kind of came to its head where you watch this team and you see the amount of injuries that have piled up, and some news today with Alim, McNeil, David Montgomery, and Carlton Davis being added and all likely out for the season. I guess there's a slight chance Davis could return with his broken jaw injury, but unlikely. That this team they're just screwed. They're completely and utterly screwed. Now, they're going to make the playoffs. Hell, they might even still be the number one overall seed. But I just do not believe that a team with this many injuries, especially on the defensive side of the football, can overcome this volume of key injuries. Adam Schefter, just on defense, listed out the injuries they've had. Aidan Hutchinson, Alim McNeil, Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Carlton Davis, Enoch Rakestraw, Emmanuel Mosley, Efetu Melifonwu. All those guys are out. That's more than 11 players, a.k.a. 11 players start on defense. So the fact that more than 11 are out, most of those guys are starters. All of them are key contributors. And then now, David Montgomery, who individually it's not the end of the world that he goes down, but he's kind of the heart and soul of your offense with his physicality and demeanor that he plays with. The Thunder approach with Jahmyr Gibbs being the Lightning with that running game behind that offensive line. I mean, I go back to week 1 when they played the Rams at home, and in overtime, they just kept handing the football off to Montgomery because they couldn't tackle him. He can wear teams out. They're going to miss him. Like, that is a major, major loss, and I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. This was the year for Detroit. Doesn't mean it's all or nothing this year. Doesn't mean they don't have a chance in the future, but they got no shot, in my opinion, to make the Super Bowl because you just can't play this way like we saw against the Bills yesterday. They put up 42 points and never really had a chance in that game. How are they going to beat high-level teams 3-4 games in a row to win a Super Bowl? Every team they play in the playoffs outside of maybe the first round, if they're like the 2 seed, if they play Washington, the 7th seed, I would pick them as a pretty clear favorite there. They're going to be in major trouble because they just don't have bodies on defense. They have Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, and a bunch of backups. That's their defense now. I mean, they got no players left. And it kind of sucks because Lions fans have been waiting their whole lives for a team of this caliber. They got the taste last year. They got so close. They should have won the NFC Championship. But big offseason coming back. They're even better this year, right? It's not like last year you felt like, well, this was their only shot. This year felt like the year this could be the best team in football. And Dan Campbell, his a clip from his press conference from that loss to the Niners from last year has resurfaced. And he said, look, I told the guys in the locker room, there's no way to predict the future. This might have been our best shot. And if you ask me right now, that was a better shot than what they currently have this year because they have so many injuries. Now, a lot of these guys will be back. Jared Goff's not going anywhere. Hutchinson will be back and healthy hopefully next year. It's not like their window is shut. But look at the 49ers. Like, you felt like they were built to last forever. And they had this 5-6 year window. And they knocked on the door a couple of times. But now they're going to have to reshape their roster potentially this offseason. They have big decisions to make. Detroit's probably a couple years away from that, but you only get so many cracks at this thing. And by the way, Detroit might lose both of its coordinators. Ben Johnson is going to be a hot candidate. Aaron Glenn is going to be a strong candidate. The Saints might hire him. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Lions fans know better than anybody. Like, they waited decades just to be decent. Now they're one of the best teams in the league, and this happens. I mean, it's tough. It's really, really tough. And I just think with the Vikings, the Packers, the Eagles, like, sure, Detroit's going to be able to score, but their only shot is to somehow still get the 1 seed, which they still have a chance to do, and play at home, because if they have to go on the road, like if they have to go to Philadelphia, they just don't have the horses. Like, they do not have enough healthy bodies to go win a game of that caliber on the road. So it's a bummer. I think they're screwed. I'd probably pick them to lose in like the divisional round at this point. Maybe they get back to the title game, but you can't win 2, 3, 4 high-level games in a row when you have no players on defense. I mean, not at all. So bummer for Detroit. We'll see how they rally here. I would expect Dan Campbell to continue to be insanely aggressive. I mean, he got ripped for that onside kick with 12 minutes left, but you're watching, you're kind of like, yeah, obviously it backfired, but you weren't stopping Josh Allen. I think part of the calculus is like, well, if you don't get it, maybe you hold them to 3 and you get the ball back quicker because they have the ball at your 40 instead of their own 25, and, you know, they go 75 yards and bleed off 4 minutes. Well, if you hold them to 3, maybe it's only 2 or 3 minutes. You get the ball back, go score a touchdown. He's trying to play the math game because he knows his defense has very little chance against high-level teams. And in the playoffs, that is what they're going to be facing. So it's tough sledding for Detroit right now. It really, really is. Before we get to Patrick Mahomes, we got an update on him here. Do you guys think Detroit can still win the Super Bowl? Because I do not currently. Now, could my opinion change on that? Perhaps, but as of now, I do not think they can. I don't think they have the horses. And I had Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl, and I don't see it happening. So I would say no. You guys let me know in the comment section right now. All right, real quick on Patrick Mahomes. He is week to week with a mild high ankle sprain, as Ian Rapoport labeled it. We've seen Mahomes have a high ankle sprain before. He played the entire 2022 playoff run with it. Remember, he got hurt early in that Jacksonville playoff game. Came back, played through it throughout that playoff run. Clearly was impacted, couldn't move around as well, but still got the job done, still won the Super Bowl. But with them being 13-1 and having 2 games in a 5-day stretch coming up, this Saturday against the Texans and then Wednesday against the Steelers, you know, his status very much in doubt these next couple of games. If it were me, I would probably do this, and this is actually what I will predict what happens here. I think they'll sit him Saturday because they still have a 2-game lead over Buffalo for the top seed in the AFC. And then I think he'll play Wednesday in Pittsburgh. Christmas Day game, you know, I think he'll want to be out there to play in that. Now, if Carson Wentz can beat the Texans, maybe they would sit Mahomes again because then they would have another 10, 11 days off, and he could play the final couple games, kind of get used to the ankle situation, get a little bit more healthy, and then obviously, or I guess it would just be the final game at that point, and then get ready for the playoffs. So I think it could depend what happens Saturday, but if I were to guess, I think he sits Saturday, then they reassess. I'll bet he plays against Pittsburgh, but obviously something to monitor here. We know he's tough as hell. He's played through stuff before. He's going to push the play, but I do think he will sit this week against the Houston Texans. And if they lose, I think he'll for sure play against Pittsburgh. If they win, probably more of a game-time decision in that Christmas Day affair. So that is the latest on him, as the Chiefs obviously looking to lock up home field advantage. All right, there you have it. My name is Harrison Graham. We will continue to cover all the top storylines in the National Football League and in college football as well. Hit that subscribe button. We got you covered on a daily basis here on 4 Verts.